Good morning, lovely ladies and gentlemen. Steve Collins coming to you from beautiful, sunshiny San Antonio, Texas, the second most powerful, passionate, and purposeful coach and speaker in the world. I hope you guys are excited for this wonderful day today. I want to have a question for you, and it is a powerful question. You can learn more about yourself, and you can develop more of yourself by the questions you ask rather than the statements that you make. You see, when you make statements, you are coming to a conclusion of yourself. Then you can actually explore what is available outside of what you currently think, feel, or believe. If you don't like who you are, where you are, and what you are who you are, what you are, and where you are because of what has gone into your mind. If you'd like to change who you are, what you are, and where you are, you can change what goes into your mind. This is a quote from my mentor, Zig Ziglar. And I want you to think about this. Have you ever been at a place in life where an opportunity was presented to you, or where you felt like creating an opportunity for yourself, and yet there was an incredible amount of fear around that opportunity because you did not have all the details available to you to feel like you were making the best choice possible? Maybe it was a risk. Maybe it's something you'd never done before. Maybe it was something outside of what the family would normally do. Maybe it's something that could have cost you something financially. Maybe it's something that could have cost you something definitely emotionally, maybe even relationally, depending on the sacrifices required to move forward with that particular opportunity. The question I would like to ask you is this: are you concerned that it will reflect poorly on you? Many people spend way too much time worrying about what other people think about them and what people might think of them if they, quote, fail, because they have not yet discovered what Zig Ziglar said, which is this perspective. Failure is an event. It's not a person. When something fails, the person is not a failure. And yet many people associate failure with a reflection of themselves as a person. You are not a failure, never have been, never will be. You may not have the outcome or the desired result that you had intended when you pursued the opportunity. However, like John Maxwell says in one of his latest books, sometimes you win, sometimes you learn. You have the privilege of learning if the outcome is not what you necessarily want it to be. So think about this if you are concerned about taking opportunities because of what others might think of you or how they may judge you. And I've heard it recently as the 20-40-60 rule. And it was a guy who said, at 20 years old, I really worried about what people thought about me. At 40 years old, I didn't give a crap about what people thought about me. At 60 years old, I realized nobody was really thinking about me at all. They were thinking about themselves the whole time. So you got to go for what is in your heart, because that's being true to yourself. And when you are at a place of transition, I'm going to speak from my experience now. Every time I've had an opportunity to stay comfortable where I am or to grow, every time I chose growth, there was some collateral damage. Meaning I had maybe lost a client or two, or I had something in my system that broke down that caused another person frustration and pain, or I had somebody that would judge me as, well, this guy doesn't pay attention to his details because that whole thing's all messed up. Well, when you're learning something new on your growth pattern, stuff's going to get messed up. And you have to be willing to say, is it worth me going through the pain of growth in order to achieve what I am capable of achieving? And only you can answer that question, because you definitely have to sacrifice something when you are on that path to growth and achievement. Now, Jim Rohn tells something fantastic. He said, you know that man is the only living organism on earth that doesn't grow to its maximum potential. Man is the only living organism on earth that does not grow to his total potential. He says, how tall will a tree grow? As tall as it can grow. You never hear a tree saying, I'm done right here, I'm going to grow halfway. Trees don't do that. Vines don't do that. Flowers don't do that. Everything grows to its maximum capacity. But man has been given the dignity of choice. And many men and women sadly choose to say, I'm done growing. I'm done growing. This is the way my great grandpa was. This is the way my grandpa was. This is the way my daddy was. This is the way that I am. This is the way that we are. And they follow a pattern that may not be in their best interest or the best interest of those who are assigned to their life, because they have chosen not to grow. So when I have been at those places to either stay where it's comfortable now or grow, I have to remind myself, am I willing to pay the price for the challenges that are going to come along with this? Am I willing to invest the emotional labor? You know what physical labor is. You know what mental labor is. Am I willing to invest the emotional labor of the frustrations in the transition in order to reach more people? If I can reach more people by going through this, am I willing to experience that? And when you get out of yourself and realize you have a duty and a responsibility to become all you were created to become, using your gifts and talents in service to others, then the question is answered pretty simply. Yeah, this is what I'm supposed to do. It's the way I'm going to live the life I was intended to live, doing what I was created to do, being who I was created to become. I become who I was created to become when I'm using my gifts and talents in service to other people. And every time opportunity for growth occurs, you have to be prepared to lose a little something along that way, to be challenged and uncomfortable again for a moment before you grow again. And yet, although it may be hard, I want to encourage you with this. It will always, always be worth it. Not because of the goal you achieve, but because of who you have had to become in order to achieve that goal. I hope today you decide to speak to yourself the way I speak to myself when I'm in those challenging moments. And I say, Collins, this is an issue of growth, not of character. Not of character. This is an issue of growth. Things are going to get messy because you're growing. It's not a character issue. It's not because you're lazy. It's not because you don't care. It's not because you're not sensitive to what other people are experiencing, going through this process with you. This is an issue of growth, not character. I hope today you decide to make some really big choices and decisions that will enable you to be able to look yourself in the mirror daily, knowing you're doing the very best you can and you're growing to your maximum capacity. Have a great day, guys.